This is the Laowa Argus 25mm F0.95 lens for the Fujifilm X mount, the first of its kind, and today we're going to find out whether it's good or not. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about this bad boy right here, the Laowa Argus 25mm F0.95 lens for the Fujifilm X mount. You heard it, a 25mm F0.95. I think it's like the first of its kind for the APS-C sensor, because I know they have a 25mm F0.95 in a micro four thirds, which equals to a full frame equivalent of a 50mm, but a 25 in an APS-C crop is around 37.5, or if you round down, it'll be like a 35mm full frame equivalent. Laowa did send this out for me to make a review, but I'm not being sponsored by them or anything. I just want to put that out there for you guys. They've been helping me out by sending me lenses to review in order to create content for you guys, and for me to test drive some of these cool lenses like this one right here. Right off the bat, the 25mm focal length is about a 37.5 full frame equivalent. It's about 2.5 millimeters more than the street photography preferred focal length of choice, which is the 35. To me, the 2.5mm didn't really make much of a difference. This lens is built very well. If you guys own the Argus 33mm f/0.95, then this is similar to that. You have the signature blue ring with the Argus branding on it, the markings of the focusing distance. You have the aperture ring with an additional feature that was not seen in the 33mm Argus. You can now, with a flick of a switch, from the aperture ring to go from clicking to non-clicking. Me as a photographer, I prefer to have my aperture ring with the click on. This is because I can feel the tactile feedback, and I know when I've switched to a different aperture. The filmmakers and the video guys will like it declicked. This would allow you to have better control with the lighting without having to see that stepping motions that you get when you stop down the aperture, which is not good for video because it's just jarring, right? The aperture starts from f/0.95 and it goes all the way to f/11. Having a lens at such a wide aperture makes it very good in low light conditions. This could be beneficial to street photographers who usually go out at night, wedding shooters who's going to need something wide and fast. The lens comes with this square hood that adds to the aesthetic. This lens has a 62mm filter thread, metal construction with a good amount of weight to it. 25mm f/0.95 lens is premium. It's really good. It's nice to hold in your hands, and shooting it with the Fujifilm X-H2S gives me a nice balance and comfort to it. This is a manual focusing lens, and I find that when shooting wide open at f/0.95, it's hard to nail focus. The focal plane is so razor thin that it's hard. Even the slightest movement, you're going to have like a hard time nailing it. A lot of people have complained about the 33mm from Argus to have such a long focus throw. You can rest assured with a 25mm f/0.95, it does not suffer from this. The distance from minimum all the way to infinity can be achieved without contorting your wrist. Like I said, nailing focus wide open at f/0.95 is hard on any lens, but once you stop it down, you're going to have a pleasant experience when it comes to nailing focus. The images that I get from this is great. There is a heavy vignette when shooting wide open, and it's to be expected from such a fast lens. The bokeh on this lens is really good and really beautiful. You really don't see anything this fast at this focal length. It almost gives you that full frame medium format look at times, that 3D pop. The bokeh is nice and dreamy, and like the Argus brand, this is consistent with the 33mm image quality. The center sharpness on this lens at f/0.95 is great, considering that I've reviewed the 7 Artisans 35mm f1.2. That thing was terrible wide open, and the 25mm Argus here did a better job with center sharpness. And once you stop down to f4 to f5.4, that's where you're going to get the optimal sharpness from this lens. Just to note that this lens suffers from a mild barrel distortion in the center. What I've been doing, I've been using the lens profile corrections from the 33mm f0.95 Venus optics. And that seemed to do the trick on clearing the vignetting and the barrel's distortion. Once you stop down to f2.8, the vignette should clear up. Stopping it down to f5.6 will have a great sharpness and detail all around. The minimum close focusing distance is 34 centimeters. That means you can get up close to create that extra dreamy bokeh. I took this bad boy out to a few portrait shoots here in Portugal, and I am honestly impressed. Although I had trouble with nailing focus at the widest, I really like using this lens at f2 to f2.8. This allows me to get most of the subject's face and eyes in focus while still giving me some separation. I love the shots that I got. I haven't seen loss of contrast wide open like I did with the 33mm. I used this lens to walk around this small little town and just grab shots of the town. It was fun with this lens. I try to capture as much as I can to provide you guys with sample images so you can see for yourself. When shooting outside in broad daylight, you can see a little bit of the red flare. It's not as harsh as it once was with the 33mm. When shooting everyday things like going out to the town and capturing life, I haven't seen much chromatic aberrations. The chromatic aberrations is well controlled by this lens because of the APO design. Laowa states that the extra low dispersion glass, a spherical lens, and the ultra high refraction glass not only offers sharp and crispy images, but also minimize the chromatic aberration across the frame. So less effort on post-processing is needed for correcting color fringing. Laowa seemed to correct a lot of things from the 33mm Argus F0.95 lens. The red ring flare of death isn't as jarring anymore. The lens flare now looks a lot more pleasing than the 33. I also mentioned in my 33mm review that every time I shot wide open, there was a loss of contrast at the bottom of the frame. I have not seen it in this lens at all. And to be honest, I thought Laowa was going to recycle the same optical formula that they used in the 33mm Argus. And I don't know what they did to this lens, but whatever this is, take this formula and do it on different focal lengths, because it's probably the best manual focusing lens that I've used without much compromises or lens quirkiness that I've experienced from a third-party lens manufacturer. Again, they fixed a lot of issues that people had complaints about. And overall, I think this is the best Argus lens that Laowa has put out. I say that because of the concerns from previous lens has been addressed in this one. People wanted an option where they can choose between a clicked and a declicked aperture. They have it in this lens. They improved on the lens optical formula. The time I had with this lens, the red ring flare is to a minimum now, and I did not see much loss of contrast wide open like I did with the Argus 33mm. The image quality is beautiful. The bokeh is great, still dreamier than ever. I like this focal length at f0.95 because I've been shooting with so many 50mm full frame equivalent f0.95 lenses. It's great that Laowa added a different focal length to their Argus line. Kudos to Laowa for making something that's totally different than the norm. You know, it's great that it's a wider focal length and not your standard portrait focal length. I'm just getting tired of seeing an f0.95 lens at 35mm. And this is coming in at $549. I think it's a great choice if you find the new 23mm f1.4 to be out of your budget. Might I suggest this lens right here for you guys? The images that I got were great, and I love shooting with this thing. If you're a bokeh addict and you're tired of that overplayed 35mm f0.95 lenses that every other lens manufacturers have been doing, try this focal length right here. This one, you won't be disappointed. It's a very, very great focal length. It's refreshing to see a wide focal length with such a fast aperture. What are your thoughts on this lens? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out and it pushes me out to the algorithm gods. And don't forget to follow me on my socials at Iamtongue. Once again, my name is Tongue, and I'll see you in the next video. I love you.